buenos días. En este video vamos a aprender y quizás repasar los verbos reflexivos. So we're going to take a look at reflexive verbs in Spanish. I do have, I think, 2 other videos on this topic. This one's going to be kind of an instruction and practice video. Before I get into it, there is a link in the description of the video that will take you to a bunch of notes that I will be referencing during this whole video. You can print it off, take it with you, and there's also an activity on there that we'll be doing in the video as well if you want to do that and follow along. So let's just get to it. A reflexive verb is pretty much any verb that ends in se or se. So you've probably begun to see these if you're saying Spanish too, or if you're further along, you're probably really familiar with them, or you've been seeing them a lot. So what we need to do is something just a little bit different when you're conjugating a reflexive verb. It's nothing difficult. What you do is, I'm going to give you the verb, for example, cansarse. This is in the notes. Cansarse is to get tired. Now, it ends in the se, so the first thing that we're going to do is take that se off of the end of it, put it in front of the cansar, and then change it depending on the subject. So if it's me, the se is going to change to me. If it's you, it's te. If it's he or she, it stays se. And if it's nosotros, it's nos. And then os for vosotros, and se for the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. And then for then you're left with cansar, and it's just a regular AR verb. You conjugate it. So the conjugation of cansarse would be me canso, te cansas, se cansa, nos cansamos, vos cansáis, and se cansan. So they all work the same in that you take the se off, put it in front, change it, and then conjugate what's left over. It doesn't matter if you're doing the preterite, the imperfect, the future tense, or whatever. You conjugate the verb just like you normally would. You just have to do something with the se at the end, which isn't too hard. There's a list of some reflexive verbs in that handout. I'll put them on the screen for you. They are asustarse, caerse, darse cuenta de, despedirse, disculparse, enojarse con, portarse bien, mal, preocuparse por, reunirse, sentirse. Those are just a few. There are a lot more, many more reflexive verbs in Spanish. And just to make sure that you can do this correctly, why don't you take a second, maybe pause the video if you need to, but try and conjugate the verb disculparse in the present tense for me, and then I'm going to put it on the screen for you in about 3 seconds. So go ahead and pause the video and do that, and then I'm going to tell you what it is. So the conjugation would look like this. Me disculpo, te disculpas, se disculpa, nos disculpamos, os disculpáis, se disculpan. So again, I took the se, put it in the front, changed it, conjugated disculpar. Now, I had a question today in class, which I always go over anyway, but what if you have more than one verb involved in the sentence? So let me give you some examples. If I wanted to say something like, I don't want to get tired, I'm going to stick with the verb cansarse for now. So the I don't want is going to be no quiero. And then what you're left with is the verb to get tired, which is cansarse. So I'm going to put it there after the quiero. I'll have no quiero and I'll have cansarse, but since I'm talking about myself, I'm going to change the se to me, and I'll have no quiero cansarme. Now, since there's 2 verbs, I have an option. I can put that me in front of the quiero and say no me quiero cansar. They're both completely correct, and as long as you know one of them, you can do it correctly. But obviously, it's good that you know both just because it is. Let me give you another example. Maybe I want to say we prefer to get tired. So now we're talking about us. We prefer is preferimos. We have cansarse to get tired, but I'm going to change the se to reflect the us part. So preferimos cansarnos. And then and then the other way to say it would be nos preferimos cansar. I can put it in front of the conjugated verb preferimos. Now, what about the progressive tenses? And the progressive tenses, if you haven't learned those yet, are the things that people are doing right now. That's the NDO of Spanish, like the hablando, comiendo. So we're going to stick with the cansar, the same verb, which is to get tired. So if I want to say you're getting tired, I would say estás cansando. Now, I still have to do something with that se. The easier option here is to put it in front of the estás. So te estás cansando would be you're getting tired. That's the easy option, this one. You can always put it in front of that conjugated verb. The other option is I can attach it to the casando. But the problem here is that when I do it, I have to put an accent mark over the e cansándote. There are some reasons why you have to do that. There are accent rules. If you want to find out what those are, you can search Senor Bellis accent marks, and you can get my video on how to do accent marks, and I go more in depth onto that topic. One more example, if I want to say they are getting tired, I would say it in 2 different ways. Either se están cansando or están cansándose. Again, with the accent mark over that A. Let's see. I'm going to just give you an example here. We've got the verb divertirse. Now, if I want to conjugate this in the preterite, as I mentioned earlier, the method of taking the se, putting it in front, and then conjugating the verb, what's left over, works the same. But just so you can see it, divertirse in the preterite would be me divertí, te divertiste, se divirtió, nos divertimos, os divertiste, sorry, and se divirtieron. And I put a little asterisk next to that on my handout because divertirse is a standard verb in the preterite, or the bottom two, the E changes to I in those two places. Let's see, I have some practice here for you. I'll put it on the screen, but it's also on that handout. And I wanted to mention one more thing, but I'm forgetting what it was. So let's do the practice here first. It's on the screen. If you want to pause the video and do it, you can, or it's on the handout as well if you want to handwrite it out. But I'm going to start getting my answers pretty much right now. Uno, cada mañana yo me despierto a las 6, pero mi hermana se despierta a las 7. Despertarse is a boot verb where the E changes to IE. Dos, después de despertarme, yo me levanto y voy al baño y yo me ducho. So I get up and I go shower myself. Tres, a veces es difícil usar el baño porque mi hermana gasta mucho tiempo cuando se maquilla y se seca el pelo. Cuatro, toda la familia se viste después de ducharse. So vestirse is also a boot verb where the E changes to an I. Cinco, mi hermano siempre huele horrible porque solo se baña 3 veces cada semana y se cepilla los dientes 1 vez cada día. Y 6, yo prefiero afeitarme todos los días. ¿Y tú? ¿Cuándo prefieres afeitarte? So in that last one, number 6, I threw the double verb thing going on there where I can attach the reflexive pronoun to the end of the infinitive. I would have the option also normally of putting that me and the te in front of the conjugated verb preferir if I wanted to. That's kind of it for this video. I wanted to give you a quick review of how reflexive verbs work. Again, there are a lot of them in Spanish. The process is fairly simple, and I think that's about it. So if you have questions, let me know. I do have 2 other verbs on this topic, like I said, so make sure you click on those links if you want to watch those ones as well for additional practice or additional instruction. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more video, and that's it. Thanks.